Hey everyone, Ryan here, and welcome to the 206th installment of Ask M&R Productions, a series where I answer your questions. If you have a question you want to answer on next week's episode, leave it down in the comments section below, and leave a like on the video while you're at it. Thank you guys very much for all the support on the videos recently. Anyway, I basically was thinking today, I was like, hey, what if I just sat somewhere else? So I did. So here we are. First question from Coolmaster64. He says, do you think LEGO Star Wars will ever make a Droid Battle Pack or minifigure pack? Also, keep up the great content. Thank you, Coolmaster64. And the answer of will they ever is they already have. So that kind of answers that. But you're probably more so thinking, like, when will they do it again? And the thing with the Droid Battle Pack is kind of interesting. They made a Droid Battle Pack as one of the two first Battle Packs ever. And then they never did another one. So interesting, right? It's been, what, 15 years at this point without a Droid Battle Pack, which is pretty absurd given that the CIS or the Trade Federation are like one of the main factions of Star Wars characters that need an army. But I would guess that the reason there aren't Droid Battle Packs, or they aren't as prominent as Clone and Stormtrooper and Hoth Trooper Battle Packs have been over the years, is because they make droid carriers. So we got that original Droid Battle Pack in 2007, and then we got a droid carrier in 2010 or 11, and then we got another droid carrier in 2015, and that's a cheap set, 25 to 40 bucks. It comes with a bunch of battle droids. It basically covers your bases. You don't really need a battle pack. It's kind of redundant at that point. That'd be like having a $40 set with 5 white clone troopers in it and then releasing a battle pack like a year later. It's like, didn't really need it. Like, we kind of had that covered. So I think that that's part of the reason why there hasn't been a droid battle pack in so long. And as to the future, you know, I think it makes a lot of sense to do it for a minifig pack, you know, a super battle droid, a regular battle droid, a battle droid commander, whatever, and then a droidica as your build, and that kind of covers all your bases there. So maybe a STAP actually would probably be the best build. I think that should absolutely be a thing. But with this clone minifig pack, I think it makes a lot of sense if at some point over the summer that we got a droid counterpart to this, but it would be Geonosian droids, which would, you know, not be maybe ideal for a lot of people, but it would be more of the specific scene, obviously. But still, to get something to counter this for the clones to fight the droids. So we'll see if that happens, but you know, it has been a while, but I think there's a fair enough reason behind that, and that's that droids are really common, and they come in cheap sets all the time. Joseph says, have you noticed that LEGO took the stock checker feature off of their website? And he says also, as a college student, what sets don't take up too much space, but still look great on display in a small setting, i.e. dorm room. So I don't think you're going to be looking for a UCS AT-AT necessarily. But unfortunately, out of what is available for LEGO Star Wars currently, you don't have a ton of options. Like, you can go for a helmet set, at which point I would say Boba Fett's helmet set is probably the most, like, if you can only display one set in your little college dorm, Boba Fett's helmet. Like, done deal. It's obviously very current with Boba Fett show out, which is great, by the way, and it's 60 bucks, relatively cheap. You can get on sale, whatever. But there are some more 18 plus sets coming out in the coming months, I believe, with like the Death Star Trench Run and Yoda's Hut, and then there's even more helmet sets. I think there's potentially a Dark Trooper helmet, Luke Skywalker's pilot helmet, and the Mandalorian helmet. So there's a lot of good options coming for the cheaper 18 plus displayable line of LEGO Star Wars. But as of right now, your options are somewhat limited. But as to the stock checker being taken off their website, I had not noticed that, and I actually picked this question before the whole LEGO Store release day debacle with, you know, the new sets that didn't come out even though they said they were going to be coming out. At some point within the last year, they had this stock checker on their website. I think they've had it for a couple years, where you could go on lego.com and see if stores had certain items in stock, you know, a particular item, is this in my store or not? You just put in your zip code and it tells you. And I guess at some point they took this away. I had no idea they had taken it away. When I read your comment 2 days ago or whatever, it was the first time I was like, oh, wait, what? It's gone? I hadn't even thought about it. Because it wasn't particularly a thing that I used, but clearly it would have a great use to have still been there on January 1st when all the new sets came out. The only hypothesis I have as for the reasoning for it being taken away is because LEGO sucked at keeping it accurate, so it would tell people, hey, we have this, and then they would show up and they just didn't have it anyway. That's the only good reason to have taken that away. But, like, yeah. So, not really sure if that was a great idea. Elijah says, just wanted to know your thoughts on if LEGO were to make accurate weapon molds for blasters, lightsaber, etc. in UCS and Master Builder series sets. So, I think if they did this, they should certainly not limit it to the higher tier of sets. First off, the LEGO Star Wars designers will tell you this themselves, that wouldn't be fair to the people who can't afford it. but also it's very cost inefficient. So there's that too from a business perspective. The thing with this is they have always been like really broad with their weaponry for Lego Star Wars, which is good and bad, right? It keeps their cost really, really low. But like at some point, I do feel like there should be some accuracy in some of the weapons. And the only reason I really bring this up is because a character like Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy has a very specific weapon mold just for his specific blasters in the movies that he's in. And I'm like, why can't we have something like this for Han Solo, right? Like, they did it for Star-Lord, and they put it in, like, 5 sets. If they had Han Solo's blaster custom mold, it would be in a dozen sets. Han Solo comes out, like, once a year. You can make Han Solo's specific blaster. But then it does kind of ruin, like, hey, every Star Wars blaster is kind of the same, and we have this continuity, but only for this one character we have this different blaster. So, like, I kind of get it from that perspective. Like, it's kind of like a tough position to be in, but I would definitely prefer if we started to see some of that stuff trickle through, especially for the prices that some of these LEGO sets cost now. It's pretty egregious. So yeah, I think like for mass troops and stuff, having these like bland weapons makes sense, but also like you could make DC-15s. It's not like, you know, they would look dope as hell. Clone Army Customs makes them, and obviously LEGO could make them for a dime a dozen, literally, maybe even cheaper than that. It's not like it would affect their bottom line. They would make tens of millions of them over the lifetime of the product. But I don't know, maybe they just don't see it as a priority. Clearly they don't see it as a priority or something that they want to do, but yeah, it would be nice. It just doesn't seem like something that's ever going to happen. Devin says, when displaying a set with stud or spring-loaded shooters that deteriorate from the look of the set, do you keep them in for purity or remove them for aesthetics? I'm as pure as it gets. I talk about it all the time. I'm a purist. I like things the way they come in the box. If it comes in the box in a poor state, that's the way that I'm going to put it on the shelf, and there's no changing that. Like, I don't care how bad it is. I'm a collector, and I want to collect the things the way they come, just for a multitude of reasons. Anyone can collect the way they want. If you want to collect and, you know, take your stud shooters off, be my guest. I'm not the biggest fan of stud shooters, but I still am a fan of LEGO in the way that I want it to be, the way that they decided that it should be, for better or for worse. Also to the point where I get comments where people are like, oh, you don't like the gunship? I'll take your gunship, or I'll take your First Order ATS, you know, whatever it is. It's like, well, that's not the point. I want all of the LEGO Star Wars sets, good and bad. That's like, I want all of them. It's not like I don't like this, so I don't want it. It's, oh, this thing sucks, that's funny, I'll take it. James Moore says, print-on-demand books have been a thing for a while now. I wonder if the rumored LEGO service for retired sets could be that, but for plastic. They might be testing the waters. Alternatively, knowing LEGO, it's just a way to get rid of sets that they don't sell, as you said. Yeah, there's no way they would be doing like a print-on-demand style thing for LEGO sets. Just not a chance. You know, they barely want to do pick-a-brick, which is kind of the same thing, right? Where they go and source all these parts and then sell them to you for exorbitant prices. Like, their pick-a-brick prices are ridiculously high. You can get things way cheaper on Bricklink most of the time. So yeah, like, that to me is pretty evident that they don't care to provide that type of service. Anyway, I've been working on a video for like talking about the subscription service, and hopefully that'll be out tomorrow. Colin's View says, I've loved your videos for years. Do you think the UCS Millennium Falcon could be the last? I feel like episodes 8, 9, and 10 could have been incentive for the 75192 UCS Falcon. Not at all. I don't see any reason not to believe that, you know, the UCS Falcon retires in a few years, and then another decade down the line we get another revised version of a UCS Falcon with even more modern building techniques and minifigures and maybe even more interior space, maybe less. Maybe they go for a different direction. Maybe they slightly downscale the UCS Falcon to bring it back in line with like as a $500 UCS set instead of this exorbitant $1,000 UCS set. Daniel says, does anyone know if there are more The Mandalorian sets for Season 2 to be expected? It's approaching January, and we didn't get anything from the show. An example could be Dark Troopers Battle Pack, which many have wanted and expected on account of Dark Troopers being available in only one set, though other sets would be great too. So yeah, there's multiple Mandalorian Season 2 or more Mandalorian tie-in sets coming. Got 2 Mandalorian Season 2 sets in 2021 with the Imperial Light Cruiser and the Trouble on Tatooine set. I think that was it. Maybe think a little better next time. There was the Slave one and the Imperial Armored Marauder as well. We had like 4 Mandalorian Season 2 sets in 2021. I think that covers it pretty well, but there was more in 2022. Technically, the Razor Crest Microfighter is a Mandalorian Season 2 set because of its box art, but we also have the Dark Trooper hallway scene with Luke Skywalker supposedly coming out in March or April. Should be out in a couple months. And then I talked a little bit earlier about the Mandalorian helmet, which, you know, it's a Mandalorian, ubiquitous season 1 and 2 type of helmet, right? And then apparently a Dark Troopers helmet should be coming out as well. I kind of doubt there would be any more Mandalorian Season 2 sets after this. Maybe farther down the line, who the heck knows. But for the immediate future, coming out in like August, I don't expect any Mandalorian Season 2 sets. They have a ton of other stuff to do, way more shows coming and going and whatnot with Boba Fett, Andor, Obi-Wan, Bad Batch Season 1 and 2 potentially for sets. Josh Bravo says, Ryan, please try tapping your AT-AT and see if it works. We all saw the LEGO designer do it last week, and now I am going to try to tap the AT-AT leg and make the Technic pin come out. So I think all he did was tap it? Maybe not. Oh, what is... I thought he just tapped it. Let me watch the clip again.
Tap gently next to the LEGO Technic rod and remove it with the brick separator.
I feel like I'm tapping harder than he tapped, and it ain't, like, I'm pushing the thing as I tap it. The legs are getting bent in ways they shouldn't be, and nothing is happening. I can knock the thing with a hammer and it's not going to come out. Now, I might just be tapping completely wrong. I don't know. If you have a UCS AT-AT, try it for yourself and let me know if it works, but, it's just not working. I don't know what to tell you. When I watched that video, I thought it was like black magic, and maybe it was black magic because I feel like I'm tapping pretty hard. If I tap any harder, I'm going to knock the thing over, and it's going nowhere. So, I don't know. Michael says, what do you see the 501st Battle Pack being worth in 10 years or so? Could we see a drastic increase in the aftermarket price due to popularity, or is it unlikely due to the high amount of units that were produced? This is a great question. It is a question that doesn't really have an answer. I've probably talked about it before, but I was on Amazon the other day, and the 501st Battle Pack was #1 bestseller in building blocks and toys. And then when the Snowtrooper Battle Pack came out, because everyone started buying that, the Snowtrooper Battle Pack leapfrogged it. But the 501st Battle Pack, think about this, a year and a half after its release, is top dog out of all of the LEGO sets on Amazon, which is pretty indicative of a pretty wide customer base. This isn't like me being like, look, these 3 guys on my YouTube channel said they bought it, and that must mean it's the most popular set. It's clearly still retaining its popularity, which is great. And so it's at the very top, and actually I believe 8 of the top 10 best-selling sets on Amazon right now are LEGO Star Wars, so, it just goes to show you LEGO Star Wars is leaps and bounds above literally everything else at this point in sales, I think. But the 501st Battle Pack is definitely going to be an interesting case study. I mean, for years and years and years, many sets have come out, and there have been many people that speculate on LEGO sets. I mostly think of the UCS Death Star, the Master Builder Series playset Death Star, where tons of people bought it as an investment because they saw it as this set that was like the next UCS Falcon. Like the 2007 UCS Falcon, when that became worth thousands and thousands of dollars, it kind of helped create this whole market of people that invested in LEGO sets, which is a very interesting submarket of people now, right? And part of that became that 2008 Death Star that was like the next UCS Falcon. This is a set that's going to be worth thousands and thousands of dollars. And LEGO went and re-released it. And now that re-release version of the Death Star is retired, it's worth about $1,000, which is insane because everybody was buying it to invest in, thinking it would be the next Falcon. And I looked at it and I was like, hey, well, if everyone's buying it to invest in, then there's going to be a ton of supply post-retirement, and therefore the price won't rise as much. But the price has, and perhaps it hasn't risen as much as it would have otherwise if there weren't a ton of people investing in it. But part of the reason some of those early LEGO sets are worth so much now is because there weren't as many people buying them to keep them sealed and sell them later. So I know people like to harp on people that do that, but part of what keeps the price down in a way is all the people that bought them to invest in, especially if a lot of people do it. It's kind of an interesting dynamic that I think a lot of people don't think about. But besides the point, the 501st Battle Pack, what's it going to be worth? In 10 years post-retirement, it's going to be available for 2.5, 3 years. That's what it's looking like, at least for the 501st Battle Pack. There is ample time for everyone and anyone who wants to buy 1, 5, 10, 100, 1,000 of them to go and do so. So anyone that's watching this video right now that doesn't have enough 501st Battle Packs, assuming you have the means, right? Not everyone's in the best financial position all the time, I get that. But if you've got, $100 for your LEGO budget right now, and your dream is to own 3 501st Battle Packs, then you have the opportunity to do that. You have ample time to do that. So to me, part of it is like, well, how many people are actually still going to want these after they retire? Because everyone will have bought the ones that they wanted. So the way I look at it is a ton of people are buying these and investing in them, but there's also a ton of people that are buying them that just want them to have them, and that would be a way bigger number than people investing in them too, by the way. I could see it by the beginning of the 2030s. somewhere in the $60 to $90 range, and that's about it. I can't imagine it being an over $100 set. I don't see it being like a Captain Rex sidecar set being $250, $300 sealed in the box. That's just ridiculous. There's going to be too many of them made. Too many people have bought them, and it's just really far-fetched to see that. 60 to 90 bucks is probably the final resting place for the price of that thing, though. We got a real good non-question here from Grandpa Ewan Builds. He says, back when I worked on the LEGO factory windows replacement throughout the whole factory, every door had a note that said, if the last person to leave turned off the lights every day, we can save $20,000 a month on the power bill. Not a question, obviously, but I just thought it was interesting to know how much LEGO's power bill could be saved by people turning the lights off. Banana Gun H2O says, will there be another greatly priced 3-in-1 Star Wars set anytime soon? Judging by how LEGO is, I don't know how likely this would be. Thanks, man. Keep it up. Also, Who Day? I don't know who Day is. Anyway, the 3-in-1 set that came out this year, the Skywalker Adventure set, or whatever it was called, with the Duel Mustafar, Luke's Landspeeder, Obi-Wan's Hut. Awesome set. Just amazing. And I think it sold fantastically. I think Walmart sold out at some point, you know, before Christmas, which is ideal because they don't want to then be clearancing them out because then they're losing money. But the retail price on that was $80, and Walmart graciously just took $30 right off of that and was selling it for $50. Like, that was an insane deal. And man, I hope they do something like it again. If they were going to do something like it with, so they take 2021 sets, perhaps. Maybe they could do like a Mandalorian adventure set, and then you have the Trouble on Tatooine set, which is a $30 set. We could maybe then get the Dark Trooper set in there as well, which comes out this year, but you know, you gotta play with me a little here. So that's another $30 set. And then maybe the Razor Crest Micro Fighter, and that's a $10 set. So those are 3 wide release sets that could maybe make a Mandalorian Adventures pack similar to the Skywalker Adventures pack, and then be sold for like 60, 70 bucks from Walmart. So fingers crossed they do that again in 2022, because that was really cool this year. And I'm sure, obviously it's not a product that I would buy because I didn't have those things. I did buy it, obviously, if you saw the video. But, like, dude, that's an amazing Christmas gift. Like, any kid that gets that is, like, eating that up. Mr. Stowalski says, as you probably know, LEGO is not listed at the moment on any stock exchange. Would you consider investing in their shares if they decide to go public and issue shares? Their business looks pretty healthy and timeless, even in our modern/digital times. Oh, man. If LEGO had been a public company for the last, like, decade, I'd have invested a lot of money in them, and I'd probably be a millionaire, but I'd probably also have to, like, be like, I'm a LEGO stockholder in literally every video, because I would have, like, a obvious financial tie to their well-doing, like, by owning stocks, or probably, hopefully, a significant amount of stocks at that time, right? Because I would have been buying LEGO shares forever. Like, it would have got me into the stock market thing way earlier if I could have been buying LEGO shares. But yeah, I don't think this is ever going to happen. They're a privately owned company, like family-owned company. I just don't ever see that happening, but it would be fascinating if it did. I would be a day one investor for sure. Aaron Dane says, which Spider-Man do you like the most? Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, or Andrew Garfield? I think my answer to this is going to get flack no matter what. But I've seen, like, the early Tobey Maguire movies years and years and years ago. I probably saw them in the early 2000s, right around when I was watching, you know, episode 3 Revenge of the Sith in theaters. So, I don't really have a great recollection of that Spider-Man. I have only seen the new No Way Home movie with Tom Holland. And Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, never watched it, never knew it existed. But out of my experience with the Spider-Mans in No Way Home, if I was going to pick one, I think I would go with Andrew Garfield. I don't know if that's the right answer or not. I don't know if there is a right answer. I don't know what, like, the consensus among Spider-Man fans is. But for whatever reason, I just liked Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. Also, his Gwen Stacy kind of, like, redemption arc was kind of cool. So, I also only know about Gwen Stacy because I watched clips before. I know I just said I didn't watch the movie, and then I brought up a nice reference, didn't I? So that's kind of weird. But yeah, I had watched clips before the movie that someone sent me to know what's going on for No Way Home. So, Andrew Garfield is my answer. I like him. Enjoy Lego Star Wars says, do you keep inventory of your sets, or do you not know what you have? So, a problem with any collector is knowing what you have. That is definitely a problem. And at some point, you do reach a critical mass where you will, there'll be a time in your life, maybe for you, maybe not, where you buy something for the second time, but you don't know that you already had it the first time. And then you get home, and, a few days later, you're looking around your collection like, oh my god, I already have one of those. But I do keep my collection on brick set pretty well. I rarely use that to, like, see what I have, though, because I know what I have. Mostly. Like, occasionally I'll buy something, accidentally duplicate, something niche that I just forgot I had from, like, 2009 or whatever. But for the most part, I do know what I have in my head. And like, if you ask me, I can tell you if I have it or how many of them I have. And even cooler for me, like part of my collecting thing. And I think I can't imagine this is something unique to me, but I've never actually asked anyone else if it's something that they can do. I would say for like 95 to 97% of my sets, I can tell you exactly where I got them, how I got it, who was with me, you know, all of the details, I feel like. So, I mean, the answer for a lot of them now is like, oh, I bought that on eBay. Oh, I bought that one on eBay. You know, like, but for a lot of the sets that I got in the, you know, mid 2000s, late 2000s, whatever, like, oh, I got that one from Christmas for my grandma and I totally didn't expect it. Or I got that one on my birthday, or I bought that one at Toys R Us and I remember this happened that day. Like, there's a lot of memories tied to those sort of things. So that helps too, I think. Lord Porg Studios says, this isn't a jab or something, but would you be willing to do an Ask M&R video where you can't trash talk LEGO at all? I want to see if you struggle or if it'll be rather easy. Honestly, I think it would be rather easy. You know, contrary to popular belief, I do really like a lot of things about LEGO and their product. I also think that parts of their company really stink and should be way better because it's really easy to be better. No names, nothing specific, but I think we all know. So like, yeah, I can do it. I'm going to write it down and we are going to try this next week for Mr. Lord Porg Studios, and hopefully I can achieve not talking trash about LEGO at all next week. And if I fail to not talk trash about LEGO next week, I'll donate $100 to the American Cancer Society. So there's a good little wager for us here. But anyway, if you have a question for next week's episode, leave it down in the comments section below. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you next week. And who knows, I could be sitting somewhere else.